Hello and welcome back to Mario Kart Wii. We're in the first bonus episode. We raced in every single, on every single course in time trial mode, which allowed us to unlock the remaining characters and the remaining cars and bikes that we had not done so up until this point. In this episode, I'm going to be taking you all into versus mode, where I'm going to experiment with some of the custom rules, and I will be showing off all of the rest of the characters and cars and bikes that we have not used yet. And we're going to be doing all of that in this episode. I was going to do it across the versus and battle, but then I realized that battle mode doesn't allow you to pick what car you use. It's either the standard kart or the standard bike. There's no variation there. So that plan didn't work out. So we're going to do it all in this episode in versus mode, and I'm going to be racing in all 32 tracks across all 8 cups. Are going to be doing all. So this is just going to be one long video for me to record. But let's just jump into versus mode. So, versus mode, you can play either a solo race or a team race. Just to show it off, for the first one I'm going to do a team race. The rest of them are going to be solo races. But team race is basically all 12 characters are split into 2 teams, two teams of 6. And it's not about who finishes first, it's about how many, like, the team that has the greatest number of players finished higher, or placed higher, wins. We're going to mess with the rules a little bit. Put it in 150cc, hard mode, all vehicles. I want to choose the courses because I have to do a very specific thing here. Like, in order to show off everything, I have to do a very specific series of courses. But we're going to do aggressive items, just to start it off. We're going to do 4 races, and that'll be it for now. We'll do team race, and the first one that I'm going to show off is we're going to show off Baby Luigi. Here are the teams. On my team, I have King Boo, Peach, Bowser, Yoshi, and Baby Daisy. And on the enemy team is Donkey Kong, Waluigi, Luigi, Toad, Dry Bones, and Bowser Jr. And unfortunately, it looks like I'm going to be going up against my boy Toad. So, I'm so sorry, Toad, but I'm going to have to be. I'm going to have to win against your team. I'm sorry. Anyway, let's play with these teams. All right, so I'm going to be showing off where is it? I'm blind. Here it is, the Jet Bubble. With manual transmission, of course, and let us begin our versus session where we start off with the Mushroom Cup. And what order are we going to do things in? Well, let's start off with Mushroom Gorge. I don't want to play in the same order that we've always been doing. Alright, Mushroom Gorge. So a couple things you'll notice right off the bat about this mode is that the text color is all different. Not only are the names of people's heads different, but the place number in the bottom left-hand corner and the lap number is a different color. In addition to, if you look on the map, now everybody has a little outline around them. That's either red or blue, so it's all custom. Oh dear, that's a banana that I just ran straight into. Pretty good acceleration on this thing. Acceleration is probably the most important thing for me when I'm choosing a car. But yeah, those are the differences that they made for versus mode. And this is officially the 5th time that we were going to be playing through all 32. Oh dear, that's bad. Okay, let's not do this. First time we're going to be playing through all 32, or the 5th time, sorry, we're going to be playing through all 32, oh dear, cups courses in the game. And something else that I should probably point out is that while you'll notice that even the items have a little red barrier around them. Because if I throw this shell forward, it's going to completely go around King Boo. You are not able to hit any of your teammates with the shells or with your items. That includes bananas. So if I, for instance, put a banana behind me, while, who's on my team? While Yoshi's behind me, Yoshi will still run into, because Yoshi's on my team, Yoshi will still run into that banana. Here, I'll demonstrate it right here. I'll run into the banana, nothing happens. It's actually bad if you do that, because that means you just wasted the opportunity to get somebody else on the enemy team with that same banana. So, just a little something to point out, and I'm actually going to throw this ahead, because it's going to go right past Baby Daisy and hit Bowser Jr., Never mind, it's going to fall into the cliff. I probably should have waited. Okay. Well, in that case, let's just keep on going forward. Also, it's nice to not be playing in mirror. I mean, it was nice to not be playing in mirror mode again when we were doing the time trials, because obviously the time trials are not in mirror mode. But for the sake, oh, that's if a bomb is going to blow up if I don't get out of the way. Okay, good. But for the purposes of, like, when we're actually in a race, we haven't been in not mirror mode for a while, so it's nice to, oh, never mind. Here I was getting excited that that blue shell was going to help me out, and into the pit I go. And then I remembered, oh wait, I wouldn't be getting the notification if it wasn't coming for me, because even though Bowser Jr. was in first place, it wouldn't have affected him because he was only in for I was the person in first place on my team, so I know that it was somebody on the blue team who attacked me with that spiny shell, and that has put me, wow, almost at the very back of the pack is what that put me. I am in 11th place, and looks like my boy Toad is right beside me. Okay, so in general, it's pretty evenly split so far. How is the team points going to stack up? Well, despite me completely dragging the team behind, we are still somehow managing to win against the blue team. So, I guess only time will tell how this is going to turn out. I'm also going to be cutting out all the intro scenes, because at this point you guys have seen the intro cutscene 4 times, 50cc, 100cc, 150cc, and mirror mode. So I figured, even, especially considering how long this video is going to end up being, I may as well just cut them out. And just get straight to the races. And there's an invisibility star, which is going to help me out exponentially. In fact, if I get it to last long enough, I might be able to cut through this entire thing right here. Nice! And I have a Mega Mushroom, which is going to be completely useless. Unless I, like, slow myself down and let Bowser Jr. run into it. No, that didn't work. That didn't work out quite as well as I wanted it to. I probably should use it to just get as far ahead as possible. But now I have 3 bananas armed at my side. And that spine shell's headed directly for me. Great. Okay. Oh, well, what you gonna do, I suppose. The good news is this bike has has a very high acceleration, so it should be fine. It's always very unnerving when you run into something when you're wheeling, because that really screws with everything. Okay, can I truck this up ahead? I don't want to. It's not gonna hit Bowser, I don't think. So, but okay? Bowser Jr.'s in front of Bowser. I can't truck this up far enough, so I'm just gonna put it behind me. That was almost perfect timing. If I'd been a little bit quicker, Donkey Kong would have ran straight into that. But alas, he did not. And we're already at lap 3. Great, okay. Also, you'll notice, fake item box. Oh, did I actually... Oh, it would have been awesome if I actually managed to hit him with that. But the fake item boxes, they're... For the blue team, they are blue. So, you know, that's just yet another difference in the items. And Bowser Jr. is freaking rocking it. He is hardcore carrying his team, it looks like. So, we should still be in the lead, hopefully. Yep, we're still in the lead. I don't know how we're still in the lead, because Bowser Jr. is hardcore carrying. But I guess maybe it's just because they have more people finishing further down on the leaderboard than we do. Because that's the thing about team races, right? In team races, it's not all about who the best player is. It's about who the best team is. So overall, who can place? Like, I'm pretty sure if the 6 of us finished in 4th through 8th place. Sorry, 4th through 9th place. That would be better. That we would probably win, as opposed to the people who finished in 1st through 3rd. As opposed to the team, sorry, who finished in 1st through 3rd, and then 10th through 12th place. Because it's gonna be then you have the 3 best players, sure, but you also have the 3 worst players, which balances out to be about average, whereas we have consistently finished pretty much in the middle of the pack, which I think would beat out the best and the team with the best and the worst. So it kind of reminds me, actually, when I used to play soccer. I must have mentioned this. There's no way I wouldn't have mentioned this at some point before. Like, that's the thing. I can't keep track, and but I also mentioned what I'm about to talk about now, which is that I should have been keeping track of what I discussed, because now I feel like, did I talk about this? I don't know. You'll probably... Oh dear, that's a spiny shell. Wait, everybody in front of me is on the blue team? Oh, that sucks. That's not good at all. Okay, we need to pick up the pace here, red team. I need to get one of these item boxes. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you very much, Waluigi. I really appreciate that. Invincibility star time. Not the best time for the invincibility star. It's probably going to run out before I get to the section where I actually need it, which is the mud coming up ahead. Oh, but Golden Mushroom also does that, achieves that goal pretty well, so, you know, I can't complain there. What I can complain about is that they're still really far ahead, and can I get a new item? No, I was hoping I'd get a new... I would lose the Golden Mushroom before I got a new item, so that I would actually be able to, you know, or before I hit the next item box, but... I wanted to talk about, when I used to play soccer, there was one person on my team who was very aggressive in that he was a very physical player. Like, he liked to slide tackle people, and essentially as if he was playing football, like American football, full-on tackle into people. And obviously the referees were like, hey, how about you don't do that? And because he likes doing this, our goalie kept getting screwed over. Because it's like, seriously, what am I gonna do? So our goalie had to, because obviously that results in a penalty kick. So the goalie has a lot more work to do all of a sudden because the penalty kick is the worst thing in the world, and it's just, and that might even us out. Yeah, they're ahead now. That's not good at all. Okay, we'll fix that in the next race. So our goalie was really stressing out just because all of a sudden he went from he went from the last line of defense to the only line of defense because of all the penalty kicks. So it's like, wow, can you not be this aggressive so that our goalie actually has a chance at not being screwed over? Maybe. Well, the answer was no. And the reason why I seem to remember talking about this because what I'm going to say next is that I don't like blaming. I don't like blaming a loss. I don't like blame. Oh, you know what? No. I talked about this in a Splatoon episode. Yes, I talked about this in a Splatoon episode because it would have actually made sense for me to do that. Just because that's a team-based game. What I said is I don't like to blame a game's loss on one particular teammate. I also don't like to blame a game's victory on one particular teammate because that is a very, very counterproductive thing to do. It's like rather than improving as a team, you praise this person endlessly. So then when it comes to that person gets all the attention and they think they're all that, but the rest of the team is like, well, if he's all that, then why should we even bother trying? Or they just feel neglected, and that leads to very, very poor team chemistry. Then on the reverse, you have someone who constantly gets berated, and it's like, well, if I'm gonna get berated for trying my hardest, then why should I try at all? So, no. Rather than, hey, let's all work together as a team to improve, it's, no, this one person screwed up, therefore bad. That being said, there are certain circumstances, such as, because this, like, the entire rest of the team was trying as hard as they could. And the reason I say it's because I was not a great soccer player. I was good on defense, but if you try to put me on, like, my coach made the mistake one time of putting me on offense, and yeah, but that didn't end very well. When I was a midfielder, I passed the ball to. Oh, we actually won. Nice. I'll continue this in the next set of races. But actually, no, I can talk to the loading screen. So, I was a midfielder, and I passed the ball to someone who was really good on offense, and he ended up scoring. So I was fine there, but if you want me to be the one scoring the goals, I'm almost definitely gonna disappoint you. But on defense, I was actually very good at keeping things back. I'm sorry, keeping the enemy team back away from the goalie. However, that alone does not make me a great soccer player because ideally I would be more skilled in other areas. So, but our team as a whole was fairly good, and I'll talk about this a little bit more when we start the next one. All right, so for the Flower Cup. We are going to be using our next new character that we unlocked. Let me just, there we go, the versus. No, not team race. I don't want to do team race again. We're going to do solo. Are the rules still the same? Yes, they are. Okay. Solo race. Toadette, that's the next character we need to use, with the blue Falcon. Manual submission, of course, and we're going to do the Flower Cup, and we're going to start at Wario's Gold Mine, get the worst one out of the way first. Well, that's the first time I've stalled out. I don't. Like, our team as a whole was fairly good, and we had really, really good teamwork for the most part. So, like, if he wasn't being as aggressive as he was, I wouldn't blame him, or I wouldn't blame anyone. Bowser, really? I wouldn't blame anybody for us losing. I would blame the whole team and say, we all need to work together and improve more. But, however, in this specific circumstance, the reason why we lost is because the goalie, like he kept getting us penalty kicks, or giving the enemy team penalty kicks, I used to say, which meant our goalie was constantly stressed out and was constantly having to defend against these penalty kicks. So it was just like, well, why even? Rosalina, you almost knocked me straight off the edge. It's like, oh, Daisy! But I would say that we probably lost that game because of this person. And I ordinarily would never say that, just because, I like the idea of you win as a team, you lose as a team, you improve as a team, or you improve as a team, basically. But in this circumstance, I would say, because the rest of us pulled our weight, I mean, the rest of us could have done better, I would say, and we definitely could have done better, but overall we did fine, and I think we would have actually, like, we may not have won, like, and if we did, it would have been a hardcore victory, but we would have had a much better chance if we weren't getting so many penalties. But the reason why I bring this up is because in the team race mode, it's not about you just being the only one who constantly wins, because that alone will not win. If your whole team is finishing in the bottom 6, or the bottom 5, and you're finishing in the top spot, that doesn't matter. It actually just does not matter. So that's just something to keep in mind. But I actually no, I don't. So on the I missed playing soccer when it wasn't life-consuming, right? Because when I played soccer, I played it in elementary school, and I think, yes, I played it in elementary, oh dear God. I played it from 4th, 5th, and 6th. The amount of things that are just trying to kill me in this episode is ridiculous. I played it, I played 3 years of soccer. First year was 4th grade, second year was 5th grade, and then my third and final year was 6th grade. So, and for the most part, which, what you may notice is that, I started my channel the second semester of 6th grade, and that was around the time that the season was starting to end, I think, maybe. I don't actually remember. Yeah, so that was around the time, like, when that season ended, I was starting to get a little, so it was the end of that, season that I started to get really into doing YouTube, so, you know, maybe there's a little bit of correction here, but basically, for those first 3 years, it was pretty simple. There was practice, oh dear, power block, trying to avoid it. Never mind, I completely failed at avoiding it. It was either, it was 6th grade, it was Tuesday night was the practice, yes. It was Tuesday, I think maybe one year was Tuesday and Thursday, but I know for sure it was Tuesday night was practice. And then, okay, the acceleration on this vehicle was not that great. And then after that, our games were usually on Saturday. It wasn't every Saturday, I don't think it was most Saturdays, but it wasn't consistently every Saturday. But the reason why I liked it is because it was nice. Oh, you know, once a week you get 3 hours, I think, 3 or 4 hours of really strong practice in. You learn a lot, you improve, you work together as a team, and you just have fun doing it. And it was great. Then Saturdays, you get there before the game, you do a little bit of warm up, and then you have the game itself, and in the next practice you evaluate how well it went. And it wasn't that big of a commitment because it's just 1 day out of the, or okay, I guess 2 days out of the week technically. But because of the weekends you have more time, so it's not really that big of a deal. You spend the morning doing the game, and then you spend the rest of the day doing whatever you want. But, oh, again with the freaking shell! But when after that, I had a really rough coach my 3rd year of playing soccer, so it wasn't really, my decision to leave was mainly because of him. And he wasn't even really all that hard on me, because I did fine for them. Why can I not get these freaking power block avoiders anymore? Because I don't want to sound like I was above everyone else, but for the most part, I didn't, like, I really tried my best, and for the most, there may have been a couple instances when he was like, you could do this better, and I agreed with him, but for the most part, he wasn't over-aggressive on me, but for the rest of the team, he was super aggressive, like, verbally aggressive, and especially, there was one game I'll never forget, when, like, you know, like, the stereotype, right? The stereotype of, oh, my kid's in that game, you have the parents on the sideline, well, there goes that shortcut, the parents on the sideline that are like, my kid that wasn't a foul, what are you talking about? And they're like, they're telling the, because you know that the ref, right? The ref is just usually a teenager who's like, alright, this is easy money, I referee a kid's soccer game. Great. Easy money. Okay, this is a great job for me to have. But the parents on the side are like so hyper about it. They're like, my kid should have scored that, or that was a foul on my kid. What are you talking about, ref? What are you doing? Then we have. Oh, I'll tell the story in the next race because it's just wow. Then we had this one game. It was during a tournament. I'm pretty sure it was a tournament that we were at. Peach, what are you Peach? What? She didn't even just screw me over there. She screwed herself over there. She was being violent, like full on ramming me into the other escalator. It's like, whoa, well there, buddy. Anyway, back to the story. Okay, so one game, our coach got so, oh dear God, like our coach got really mad if people weren't scoring goals or people weren't passing properly. He got furious with our team. It reminded me, I couldn't make the comparison now, or back then, but now I can make the comparison between, he was the sweaty gamer type, like, he wasn't actually, but I could compare him in that instance to the sweaty gamer for Siege, who's just like, yells at his teammates the time anything, like the slightest thing goes wrong. Like you place your mute jammer 1 inch to the left of where he wanted you to place it, and all of a sudden you've committed a heinous crime. It was that kind of thing, where he was very, very, very commanding, I guess I should say, when it came to how well people were doing. So there was one time when he got, in this instance, he got on the ground, like he dropped to his knees, and he buried his hands in his arms, like cursing himself out. I don't know if he was cursing himself for being a coach or for coaching this team or whatever the case may be, but he was not happy with the team on that particular day. And then there was something happened. I think what happened was, so in soccer, I may muck up the rules a little bit on this, but I'm pretty sure that the general rule is that you can't use your hands, right? You can't put your hand on somebody else, but you can use your elbows. Am I correct on that? You can use your elbows to like nudge them a little bit. Am I correct? Is that correct? I don't know. It's been a long time since I've played soccer, but I'm pretty sure you're allowed to do some of that. And one of our teammates did do some of that. He may have been a little extreme. I'll say that much. He may have been a little more aggressive than he probably should have been. But apparently it resulted in somebody on the other team that we were facing against getting a bloody nose. So that was great, obviously. Not, and I mean that sarcastically. I'm like, no, it was not great. Please do not misconstrue my words there. And the coaches on their team were getting pissed at the kid on our team, and then my coach was trying to defend the kid, and then the parents got involved and started screaming. It's just like, what is going on anymore? Like, I came here to play a game of soccer. What are you do? Why can't we just get? What? It was hectic. It was chaotic. So I didn't want to do another year of soccer just because our coach was so hyper aggressive and hyper, like, he was so into the game that it almost wasn't even a game for him anymore. It wasn't a healthy thing for us. So anyway, the reason why I started talking about this is because I was talking about, I used to love playing soccer, and I stopped mainly because I stopped competing in that league because of how competitive, I guess I should say, our coach was. In a non-competitive league, by the way, because there was a competitive league and then there was a non-competitive league. I was in the non-competitive league because I just wanted to have fun. He probably should have been coaching the competitive league. He almost definitely should have been coaching the competitive league. Just gonna put that out there. And we only ever won a trophy. The only soccer trophy I ever won was the first year I played. The first year I played, we had great coaches. We had a great team. We had great 2 coaches. That was a great year. We actually, and it wasn't a silly little participation trophy, by the way. We made it all the way to the end of the tournament, and we actually freaking won it. The other 2 years, can't say the same thing. Cannot say that we got as lucky those other 2 years. But anyway, as I was trying to say, so I stopped playing in that league, but then I was considering giving another shot in middle school. I wanted to, oh, King Boom, so I got caught up, I misjudged how wide the radius was going to be. But I did want to try out, like for where I went to school, because I didn't play soccer at school. So I was considering, hey, maybe I'll join the 6th grade soccer team, or not 6th grade, it would have been the 7th grade soccer team, because I was already in a different soccer league, obviously, at the time. But then I realized that the coach who would have been coaching, that was just a cavalcade of chaos right there. I realized the coach who would have been coaching this team was someone let's not get hit by the spiny shell, or we're gonna get hit by it anyway. Great. Was also a pretty competitive person, and this time it was justified because I'm pretty sure like for school it actually was a bit more competitive. So I understand that, but I still was coming off bad memories of my 3rd year of soccer, so I didn't want to re-involve myself with that process. So yeah, that's that. And then there's still more of the story, so I'll talk about this through the loading screen, which is that when I realized, like, later on, because Ace, if you remember that name, was on the girls' soccer team, and she had soccer practice every single day and games on the weekends, and I'm like, seriously, it's that much of a commitment, and even still to this day, when Forgetful God 45 was on the high school soccer team, it was a massive commitment. Every single day you had to be out there practicing, and games on the weekends, and eventually she's just like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. This is taking up too much of my spare time. I don't want to spend 4 years of my life doing this. And I can't blame her. I honestly can't blame her. Because that's why I never wanted to, after I realized that in 7th grade, that's why I never wanted to play a sport again. Or I never wanted to play soccer again. Just because it is such a major time commitment. And when I do this every day, it's just like, I don't want to, like, the thing is, right here, I'll set up the next race, and then I'll talk about a little bit more about this. Okay, next up, we are going to be using the Tiny Titan with Toad. It's not a new character, but there's more lightweight karts we need to use, so we're going to use Toad for the Tiny Titan. And let's start at the Star Cup with, we'll start off with the second one. And you may be thinking to yourself, oh, so you choose to do YouTube over playing a sport? No, because even if I wasn't doing this, I wouldn't have the time anyway, because, like, with this, right, I record the videos with this is an exception. It's a bit of a longer video, but it's also still summer, so I don't really have to worry about it. But for the most part, my videos are not that long. They usually, except for the Kingdom Hearts 3 videos, they typically max out at around 30 minutes usually. I mean, it varies, but that's generally what it is. Except for the weekend videos, because weekend videos obviously I record those on the I record those on the weekend, so it's a bit different. So it's not that big of a time. Usually, recording takes maximum, almost always maximum an hour to record on the weekdays. And then I edit things in the morning before I leave for school. So that works. And then I use the remaining time I have to do the homework, to do my homework. It's a very, very consistent system that works very, very well. However, if I were playing a sport that is at least 3, 4, maybe let's say, yeah, 3 or 4 hours. I don't want to say 5. 5 is pushing it, but at least 3 or 4 hours on the field every single day. And on top of that, then you have to drive home, and then you have to do your homework. And I cannot fathom being able to do that. Especially, by the way, even if you have a study hall, that's one thing. But I do not have a study hall, or I didn't have one I didn't have one last year. So it's like I can't even fathom how you could possibly do this. How you could be involved in a sport and also not completely sink your grades down the toilet if you are in a sport. I just don't know. So even if it was something that I was interested in doing again, which, you know, I would still like to do it if it wasn't completely inconvenient. I miss the days when it was just weekly practice, weekly game, done, moving on. Those were the good old days. Now everything's just, it's such a major time commitment. I can't. And you may say to yourself, well, what if it was an after-school gaming club? I would say the exact same thing. I would say the same thing. It wouldn't matter. It actually just wouldn't matter. The idea of staying after school for 3 to 4 hours to do anything is just like, how about I don't? How about I go home, do my homework, record my videos, and then great, we're done, moving on. Maybe I'm just weird. Maybe it's just a me thing, which it probably is, because obviously there's a lot of people who do commit themselves to that amount of time after school. But it's not me. It's just not. It's never been for me. It never will be for me. So that's just it. And then, of course, I've had to spend a lot of time, because I've been going on a lot of trips this summer for colleges and things like that. So I've had to spend a lot of time. There's been a lot of batches of recording I've had to do where I record. I have my bananas out. What do you mean? I've had to record videos long in advance for a lot of the time. The hardest one was the Hawaii trip, because Hawaii was a week long. So that I had to stockpile a lot of videos for that week. But so if I went on I don't even know. Like if I went on a trip during the school year or something, that would be a nightmare to have to prepare videos for. Or like if there was a soccer tournament out of town or something, forget it. There's no way. I don't know. That's just a me thing, I guess. By the way, I'm not totally against the idea of extracurricular activities. I know it sounds like I am, but I'm not. Like I'm a part of a science competition. But you see, the thing about the science competition is that we meet once a week, and then we have a minimum of 2 competitions a year, depending on if we make it to states and nationals and all that. So that's not that big of a time commitment, right? It's still fun for me to do, and it is a challenging competition without a doubt. But it also doesn't take up all that much of my time, so that's a thing. I just keep getting beaten up over here. It's just a thing that I can do for it's fun, but it is also a challenge that demands me to try hard, or not try, but to apply myself, but also not take up so much of my time that I don't have time to do actually to anything else. So that's the kind of thing that I would advocate for. But the things where you just like primarily sports, because those are the biggest culprits, where you just go after school for 3 hours at a time and you just slave away, doing the same thing you do every week. It's just like I can never do that. I can never in a million years see me doing that. So that's just, yeah, no, not for me. Not for me. But, you know, I mean, yeah, that's all I basically have to say about that, and let me just blitz past you really quickly. I've spent almost 2 cups worth talking about, well, it started with me talking about soccer, but are there any, I mean, there was another thing, my 6th grade year that may have added on to it. I was a part of the cross-country team, which was also fun, but because of, obviously, the cross-country also cross-country met 3 times a week, which was admittedly a little bit more of a time commitment, but still not unbearable, because I think we only practiced for like an hour and a half, and then we went home, so it wasn't too bad. But it was, and again, at the time, I wasn't big into doing YouTube, so it wasn't taking up too much of my free time, and I also didn't have too much homework 6th grade year, you know, because it was 6th grade, so it still wasn't too bad. But as the years went on and things got harder, it obviously got a little bit tougher to get behind that idea of daily practices. So that's that for me. I stalled out again. It occurs to me, I may be giving off the impression that aside from soccer, I hate all sports, but I assure you that's not the case. I just don't really have the time to play a sport. But even when it comes to the idea of sports, it's like, you know, it's fine. They don't particularly care all that much. It's a you do you situation. Is basically where I stand there. Because the thing is, like in gym class and stuff like that, when we're playing a game for an hour, that's fun. Well, okay, not all of them. They're not all winners. Playing. Okay, so there's a mixture. Hockey's fun to play. Hockey's always fun to play. Fun to watch. Fun to play. Soccer's, you know, fun. It's just not. Yeah, soccer's fun. It's just that obviously because I have a little bit more experience playing soccer than, because I'm in a weird position where I have more experience than the average person in that I can hold my own, but also not nearly as much experience as the people who are actually on the high school soccer team. So I'm kind of in the middle there. So I can be I don't get mad, right? I don't go sit there screaming, because there are people in my gym class, by the way, who take it super, super seriously, and they scream if you make the slightest little mistake. I would never in a million years think of doing that. I just annoyed, I would say. Well, let's say I get annoyed when I see people just kind of like standing there doing whatever, like hanging back and just not even really caring at all. I don't care so much for my sake, just because, well, I mean, I don't care if we win or lose. It's just fun. It's just frustrating to have to play when you're down 1 or 2 teammates who are just like standing in the back doing whatever. That's where the annoyance comes from. The annoyance comes from having to play with fewer teammates, not so much from the idea of, wow, we're gonna lose now thanks to you. No, not from that perspective. Kickball's fun. Kickball's fun. For the most part. There have been a couple rough games here and now, but the thing, you know what okay, in 6th grade when we played kickball, you know what the dumbest thing ever that would happen is that whoever the last kicker was always got screwed. Like the last kicker kicks the ball, and then immediately, like honestly, what would happen is this pissed our coach off, and rightfully so, is that before the last kicker would kick the ball, the team playing the outfield would like move away from the outfield and get themselves ready to run back to the wall where you would line up to kick. And it was just like, really, you're not even gonna wait for him to kick? You're just gonna like basically abandon their outfield positions and just got as close to the as close to the bases as possible so that they could run to the wall and just line up there to kick. And it was really, really annoying if you were the last kicker. But for the most part, like, that hasn't happened in high school so far, so it's fine. I stalled out again. Why can I not get... Why have I suddenly become... You know why? Because I recorded episodes 29 through 32 pretty much back to back to back, and then I took a week's break from playing Mario Kart Wii, so I think I've lost some of my finesse with this game, whatever. You know what game I really, really hate to play in gym class? Is Capture the Flag. Because Capture the Flag, like, I like the idea. I love the game Capture the Flag, and I'm going off the edge, I boosted too much. The idea of two teams going up against each other, they both have a flag you have to capture. You have to form a strategy with your team to defend the flag while also trying to launch a sneak attack on the enemy team. Because here's the problem with that, is that, like, in a standard Capture the Flag arena, it's designed in such a way that there are flanking routes, right? There's routes you can take to get an advantage on the enemy. There are things you can do to try to launch a sneak attack, or just to strategize in general. But the problem is that in a gymnasium, it is or if you're even on a soccer field, it is a wide open area. You have to be blind as a bat not to see somebody coming a million miles away. And once you get to the enemy teams, because right at the start of the game, what happens is you race to the enemy team's base, right? And I thought I was going to go off there, but I didn't. You race to the enemy team's base. I just hit the squiggler. And then you just sit there for 8 million years. I keep getting beaten up by everything known to man in this game. And then after that, eventually you wait, and you keep waiting until you find your break, and then you make a beeline for the other team, and then that's it. It's just rinse and repeat. You cross the field, wait for a million years to run back with a flag, run back, and I really hate the concept of the whole jail thing. Like, hey, you got tagged, now you get to go to jail, now you gotta wait for somebody to free you, and it's just so dumb. It drags the whole game down. Like, in games where the map is designed such that there's routes you can take to capture the flag, it's fun. It's a fun strategical experience. But not in a gymnasium where everything's wide open and there's no subtlety or strategy or anything beyond just run, and hope you don't get caught. It's just, I really, really hate, because for the most part, what you're doing during the game is just waiting, sitting, either facing the goal or facing the flag with the guy standing next to the flag. Like, I could take the flag and run. I could do it. I'm gonna do it. And then he doesn't, and you just you have a staring contest for 8 million years. Or at the center line, like dividing the territories, when you're like, I could cross over your territory any minute now. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna cross your territory. And it's just, you just sit there and you wait, and there's nothing you can do except just wait, and you keep waiting. You're waiting for something to happen. Nothing's happening yet, but I'm expecting something to happen. Something can happen soon. I don't know. Do you think so? Maybe. Who knows? I really, really hate Capture the Flag in gym class. I really, really, really hate it with the burning passion of 1,000 suns. Anyway, next. All right, now we're gonna use who are we gonna use? I want to use. Should we use Toad again? Maybe I feel like using Toad again, but I also want to. We'll use Kubashu. Mix it up a little bit. We'll use the only other thing we've yet to use, which is the Magic Cruiser. Manual Division, of course. Let's do the Special Cup. We'll start off with the worst one. I'll tell you what I really, really hate. Well, okay, so I hate Capture the Flag because it doesn't work in a gymnasium. This game I'm talking about, Dodgeball. It's not that it's a bad game, it's just I just suck at it, so I don't like playing it. Because I don't... This is another reason why I never tried it for baseball, because I just can't... I don't have a very good throwing arm. Like, there's... I'm fine with underhanding, but you can't really underhand in Dodgeball. Like, I've never understood... Because some people can, like, just chuck the ball, like, 20 miles an hour or whatever, or something. I don't know. I don't actually know I didn't measure how fast they were throwing it, but trust me, it felt like they were throwing it real friggin' hard, and I could just never do that. Like, I'm not a terrible thrower, but I definitely can't throw. I definitely can't throw at that speed, making me immediately disadvantaged, because everybody else in the gym apparently has the ability to throw that fast and that hard. So it's not really fun, because I've been able to hit people who are close, but I can never like arc a shot so that it still hits them really, really hard. I also really, really hated the whole if you catch it, you're out thing. Because that's just so, I've always just despised that rule with the burning passion of 1,000 suns. Because catching it can be, you put your hands out to block it, and then, oh, it fell into your hands, you caught it, good for you. It's just, dodgeball's probably if they took out that rule, then it'd be a good game I hate to play, but I just, that rule ruins stuff for me. I just, boy, and I just went off the edge. That's great. I had a good lead going there. I had a pretty good lead going there for a while, and now we're in 6th place. And now we're in 7th place. I'm going to be in 8th place in a second. Now in 9th, almost 10th. Good. We went from hero to zero just like that. Nice. Okay, well, don't hit the car. Don't hit the car. It's always dangerous to wheelie on this map, or in this level, or in this course, because the cars are constantly trying to ruin your life. And they do a pretty good job of it most of the time, but they can really do an especially good job when you do a wheelie. And I'm gonna ditch all these things. No, I didn't want to throw the red shell behind me. I guess it wouldn't have mattered because he had a banana there anyway. But he's also gonna get spiny shelled and crushed by the car, so that worked out pretty well for me actually. I know there's more gym games that I can think of. I'm trying to think of them all as we go through the loading screens. Oh, I'll tell you what game I really love to play was Line Tag. Line Tag was awesome. Or either Line Tag or Pac-Man, depending on how you play, or depending on what you call it. But that was awesome. That was such a fun game to play because that was entirely tactics based. Is how can you move across these lines without being cornered by the ghost? That was such a great game. That's so fun to play. I love that. I love that so much. I don't think we played it in. I don't think I played it in high school, but I know that in middle school we played it a lot, and it was so much fun. It was such a fun time. I love that. That was so good. And because whether you were Pac-Man being chased or whether you were one of the ghosts, it was still a lot of fun because when you're a ghost, it's like, okay, how can I outsmart the Pac-Man and corner you in? And when you're Pac-Man, it's like, all right, how do I get away? How can I trick the ghost into going somewhere that I can't get? Like, how can I evade these people? How can I not get cornered, basically? And it's just so much fun tactics you can do. The only thing that's annoying about it is if you get in, like, you run into a massive group of friends who's trying to all survive at the same time, and it's like, okay, well, now you're blocking my path, so how am I going to get around you? That can get a little annoying sometimes. For the most part, it was fine, and I almost didn't. I just barely made that jump. Is what happened there. Yeah, that was so much fun. Sometimes we played it outside. It didn't work as well outside, just because obviously the soccer lines were a bit more faded than the very clearly painted lines on the gym floor. But it was still fun. The core game was still a lot of fun to play, so I can't really complain all that much. I know there's more games that honestly, what happened in middle school, not so much in 9th grade, but in middle school, what happened was my coach would invent new games to play, and those are some of my favorite games that we played, with the ones that our coach made up for us. Maybe not made up. In fact, between the races, I'm actually gonna look it up to see if I can see if I can find, like, see if other people have tried playing this in gym class before. I'm sure someone has, but I don't want to falsely give credit if it wasn't actually his idea. But basically, it was a game where it was basically actually, oh dear God, like basically like an altered version of dodgeball, where you were trying to hit people on the enemy team. However, the difference is that when you are hit, you are not down and out for good. You can be revived by one person called the Jedi, and the Jedi held one of those little foam sticks, I don't know what they're called, and then they wore a special jersey to make sure they were easily identifiable. And he or she could run over to, if let's say you get down, like you get knocked out by someone, the Jedi can come over to revive you. However, if the Jedi takes that risk, it's a pretty big risk, because obviously you if the Jedi gets hit, that's game over for that, and the enemy teams win. So what has to happen, basically what would end up happening is people would end up having to use you as a meat shield. Like the Jedi would use his or her teammates as a meat shield to try to revive fallen teammates, and then that was actually a really fun gameplay. But I want to look up to see if it's been done before. Jedi game gym class, and we'll see if anything comes up for that. Well, I can't seem to find anything else about it. That doesn't mean that somebody else hasn't come up with the idea before, but I couldn't find anything about it in my very brief amount of research. But the other game that my 6th grade gym coach created was a game where the gym was split into 4 territories, and then you have obviously 4 teams, and each team had to... Each team basically... The goal is that you win the game by having all 4 of the team's balls in your hoop. The team's balls were colored, so orange team, orange ball, blue team, blue ball, green team, green ball, that kind of stuff. So each team had their own different color ball, and the team who had all 4 of those balls in the hoop wins. And it was a really, really fun game, because it's basically, it is essentially just capture the flag, except it actually works in a gym, because when you divide the gym in 4 instead of 2, it's smaller territories to control, so there's less waiting, right? Because even when you're in the hula hoop, you can still be tagged. So the idea is to try to work together with your team, to either form alliances with teams so that you can work together to like use them as a distraction. Like, hey, you'll be the distraction, I'll get the ball, because while they're focusing on you, I can sneak up behind them and get the ball. And just tactics like that, little creative, clever little tricks like that, or plans like that to try to outsmart enemy teams and get all the balls. That was one of the best games I ever played. Man, I'm just reminiscing about all the fun times we had. And I mean, there was still other official games. Like I said, hockey's fun, soccer's fun, kickball's mostly fun. Well, there must have been others. I know that there were other stuff that we played, but for some reason, oh god, what did we do? Oh, we did a thing. I don't. You know those little rolly things, like the little cars you could sit on and roll across the gym floor. We did a thing with that, like. Oh, no. Oh, okay, I just remembered another game, but I'll talk about that in a second. So this one, basically was like, the gym floor is an ocean or whatever, and you have to, I don't remember, but it involved using those cars to cross the ground in some way, shape, or form. I don't remember exactly how it worked, but I know it was something like that. But Sharks and Minnows, oh, that was a fun one. That was a real fun game right there. That game was so good. That game was so much fun to play. I can't believe I forgot about Sharks and Minnows. It is called, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's called Sharks and Minnows. There may be other alterations that it's called, but I'm pretty sure. Let me see, Sharks and Minnows. Yep, I remember correctly. Oh, that was such a good game to play. So the idea behind Sharks and Minnows is that you have to get to the other side of the field without being tagged by the sharks. And it's such a simple concept, but it's also just so much fun to play. Then there was flag football, and flag football was a bit of a toss-up, because sometimes, I mean, it's just football without the tackling, obviously. You pull each other's flags off instead. And I remember before winter break, 7th grade year, like the last day of class before winter break, because at that point we had all finished with our classwork for the semester, we had a thing where it was that's a Spanish show I don't want to get involved with. There was a massive flag football tournament that was determined because everyone was required to take gym. So based on which teams won the gym class, won in your gym class, they would go up against each other. And I was on the winning team, if you could believe that. So that was a lot of fun to play. And the reason why our team, what the coach or the captain of our team said was that I was really fast. So my job was basically take the ball, run as far as I could, and it wasn't really about getting to the goal. It was just run as far as I could so that we could push up the line of something. What's the line called? Line of scrimmage. That's what the line of scrimmage. Push up the line of scrimmage that you start off with. I'm pretty sure. Why did I just waste that red shell? Riddle me this, Batman. Why did I just waste that red shell? But you see, the answer is that the world may never know. But gym class was just such. That was an interesting thing that I just did there. Just such a fun time. It was just an hour to just have fun and mess around, basically. And I'm taking another gym style classes here. Not retaking physical education, but I am taking a one that's similar to it, where basically I mean, it's basically just a renamed version of that. But basically, you just play games for the whole class, and it's gonna be fun. It's just, you know, senior year. It's basically just a class that I want to take senior year because it's gonna be fun. That's the way I look at it. So then that'll be a good thing to do, just because I had a physical education class freshman year, but then ever since then I haven't had one. So then I'm gonna take another one this year, just for old time's sake, just to one last memory of it before I go off to college. There's a scary thought right there, the idea that I'm gonna go off to college in about a year's time. So that'll be fun times. I mean, I'm sure it will, but just this, you know, the idea of leaving is this. It'll be bittersweet, but that's about a year's away. Not to say that I shouldn't be thinking about it now, but I do have time to prepare myself, essentially. But, I mean, it won't feel like I have all that much time, but all thanks to the lightning cloud, buddy. Genuinely thanks, but also actually not thanks, because, I mean, I had the acceleration on the bike to make up for it, so I guess thanks for the temporary speed boost. Yeah, but I haven't actually been talking a whole lot about the cars there and the bikes that we're using, but Jet Bubble was good, Blue Falcon had pretty poor acceleration, Tiny Titan was fine. This bike, with the exception of the, I mean, the handling's fine, honestly. It took me a bit to get used to it, but for the most part, it's alright. And that's it for the Wii Cups for Versus. Still have another 4 cups to go, and I've already been recording for almost an hour. Or no, a little bit over an hour. So actually, just because I don't want to drag this out any further, my voice is starting to go a little bit. I don't want to waste your time, because we're already at an hour. I don't want to, like, make it a 2-hour-long video where we just go through the same tracks again. So what I'm gonna do is we only have 2 more we only have 2 more things to show off, the sprinter and the spear. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do like 1 race and then back out. So I'll show off Birdo with the sprinter, which has pretty poor acceleration, and we'll do a random one. We'll do Delfino Square. And actually, playing Delfino Square kind of reminds me, I'm pretty sure this game was based on, sorry, not that, this course is based around Super Mario Sunshine, which is a game I never played, and I couldn't play it now even if I wanted to, just because I don't have an original Wii anymore. I gave that to my cousins, because, you know, it's like, well, I have a Wii U. Wii U plays all the original Wii games, so may as well lend it to them, right? So it felt like it was a nice thing to do. However, I can't, obviously, because Super Mario Sunshine is a GameCube game. If I wanted to, like, if I still had the Wii, I could get Super Mario Sunshine for the GameCube and then just play it on the Wii. I don't think I've ever showed off the shortcut, so I'm actually kind of glad that I picked this course so that I could show it off. Yeah, so that's how I stand on that. If I still had a Wii, I could buy it and I could play it, but I don't, so I can't. But I've always wanted to, because one of the YouTubers I watch, one of my favorite YouTubers is Thomas J. Ashton. He said that Super Mario Sunshine is his favorite video game of all time. So I'm like, well, that's a pretty high bar. Because, like, when I tell people that Dragons of 3D Return to the Lair is my favorite video game of all time, that is a very, very high bar, because I've played a lot of incredible games. So to say that Dragons of 3D is the best is a ridiculous bar to meet, and it absolutely crushes it out of the ballpark. So when someone makes that claim saying this is the best game they've ever played, I'm gonna hold that to a pretty high standard, and I'm gonna play it and see what I think. Unfortunately, I can't do that in this case because obviously I don't have a GameCube and I don't have a Wii, so I can watch his playthrough if I wanted to. But I was avoiding watching it just because I wanted to see if I could ever get the chance to play it for myself. But now that I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to, I'll probably just go back and watch the Let's Play to see what the game's like. My friend told me that it's not a good game, but it's a good speedrunning game, and I don't. I'll tell you, that's a mindset I don't like. I have a mad amount of respect for speedrunners because they can pull off crazy tricks that I never would ever be able to. Prime example, Shift for Battle for Bikini Bottom. Battle for Bikini Bottom is an incredible game, both for speedrunning and for just playing casually. But what I really hate is the idea that this game sucks, but for speedrunning, it's a really great game. It's just like, I really hate that mindset. I know I'm gonna sound like someone's like, yeah, speedrunners suck so much. But no, please do not interpret it as that, because that is not what I'm trying to say at all. I have a mad amount of respect for speedrunners of any game who can pull off these really insane tricks and know a lot of really great route optimizations that I would just never ever be able to achieve. So don't think even for a second that I'm trying to insult speedrunners and their insane, crazy amounts of talent. I don't want that to be what people take away from it at all. But anyway, yeah. So I don't like the, well, it's a bad game, but it's a great speedrunning game mindset. Because but that's what my friend told me about Sunshine. He told me, well, Super Mario Sunshine is a terrible game, but it's great for speedrunning. So I don't necessarily believe him, but you know, well. What you know, suppose. All right, so that's Birdo in the Sprinter. So now I only have one more car and character to show off. So we'll go back out and I'll show that off to you. All right, last one we got to use is Funky Kong with the Spear Bike. Management mission, of course, and we will go on. Thinking DK Mountain. Yeah, we'll do DK Mountain. So I know that I used the Spear Bike in my original, oh god, oh, that's some bad acceleration. That is some terrible acceleration. Why did I ever use this bike? I mean, maybe for time trials it was fine, just because I didn't really intend on, you know, stopping anytime. But still, this is some bad acceleration. This is on par with the Honeycomb. Remember that terrible acceleration? This bike's acceleration is on par with that. Remember, I don't really use this stuff, because for the most part, whenever I just play Mario Kart Wii for fun, I use my Mii, or I either use my Mii and I use the classic dragster, or I use Toad and I use the booster seat. I don't really experiment with a lot of different types of. Not the same for, because when I play Mario Kart 8, there's a lot of different combinations you can use for karts, so that has a bit more variety in the types of cars that I use. But for this game, I pretty much just use the same two cart setups every single time. So I don't really experiment with a whole lot of different things. So I haven't really used the Spear Bike all that much. So it's a new. I mean, not new, because I obviously have used it before. You saw it in the Peach Beach time trial that I did use this. That was the ghost I was racing against, I'm pretty sure. But that didn't make the, like, it still wasn't great. I'm pretty sure it wasn't great for. I mean, like I said, time trials was probably great, because when you're doing a time trial, I'm pretty sure if I ever made a mistake, I would just reset, because to unlock the fast staff, because you really have to be on point with how few mistakes you make. So I'm pretty sure if I even just made one, that would have been me restarting the level, and I completely forgot that you could actually break those things. And there's my acceleration that just went down the toilet. Oh, that's a lightning cloud. Okay, thank you for not hitting me with the lightning cloud this time. I really do greatly appreciate you choosing to spare me from the fate of the lightning cloud in this particular instance. There's no guarantees that you'll do that in the future, but for this instance, wow, I just keep getting bombarded by everything, and yeah, I can definitely feel my voice is starting to go, because I don't usually record, even when because like I said, earlier I said that usually my recording sessions during the week don't exceed that of an hour, but even during then, I have a small little break between then, like between recordings that I use to set the next game, because very rarely are the two games that I'm making walkthroughs for on the same platform, so it takes a little time to set that up. And even just that brief 5 to 10 minute period that it takes me to set up the next game is enough to give my voice a little bit of a rest before I record the next video. But this is just an hour-long video, an over hour-long video probably. I've been recording for over an hour at least, of me just talking, and because it's Mario Kart Wii, all the commentary has to come from just me talking about whatever. So that's a lot of stuff I gotta chat about, and it might actually be better if I just drop off the ledge here, so that I can get a little bit of a boost, because it would have taken me forever to turn around. And the Lightning Strike also helps, while I missed the boost, so that's great. Yeah, oh, mushroom that I also missed, nice. But yeah, I'll definitely have I'll definitely have more energy. My throat will be back to normal after this, so I'll be able to record the battle minigame video, or the battle video, with a perfectly normal throat. Just obviously, when I record for this amount, when I speak for this length of time, it kind of drains my throat a little bit. So I feel actually really bad for people who have to, like for teachers who have to speak all day. That must suck, man. Anyway, That's it for this episode of Mario Kart Wii, so thanks for watching. Stay tuned for next time. I hope to catch you all tomorrow for the final bonus episode of Mario Kart Wii when we're going to be playing through the battle, or we're going to be experiencing with battle mode. Goodbye.